I never thought the woman I loved more than anything would look me in the eyes and hand me divorce papers like they were nothing more than a shopping list. My name is Ryan Bennett. I'm 38 years old, a software engineer who spends his days building systems that keep other people's lives running smoothly. I thought my own life was solid too. 12 years of marriage to Emma, our 10-year-old daughter Lily who giggles like sunshine when I swing her around the garden, and our 7-year-old son Jack who still believes I'm the strongest man alive because I can carry him on my shoulders for the whole walk home from school. We were that family everyone quietly admired in our quiet suburban neighborhood, the ones who showed up for school events, hosted weekend barbecues, and somehow made it look easy while the world around us fell apart. But that all shattered the day the envelope landed on our doormat. I remember the exact moment. It was a gray Thursday evening. The kids were upstairs finishing their homework. I'd just kicked off my shoes after a long day debugging code that refused to cooperate. Emma came down from the bedroom, her face pale, eyes fixed on the floor like she couldn't bear to meet mine. Her hands were shaking as she held out the thick white envelope. "Ryan," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, cracking on my name. I need you to sign these. Please. For Lily and Jack. Let's keep it quiet. No big fights. No one needs to know our business." Her lips trembled. She kept swallowing like there was something stuck in her throat. I took the papers, my fingers brushing hers, and I felt how cold they were. Irretrievable breakdown. That's what it said. 12 years reduced to 2 clinical words on a page. I stood there in the hallway, the familiar smell of her lavender shampoo still clinging to the air from her morning shower, and my chest tightened so hard I thought my ribs might crack. Memories flooded me then, slow and painful, like someone turning up the volume on every happy moment we'd ever shared. I remember the day we met at that friend's house party back in 2012, Emma in a simple blue dress, laughing at my terrible joke about computer bugs, her eyes lighting up in a way that made the whole noisy room disappear. I remembered our wedding, her walking down the aisle with that nervous smile, squeezing my hand so tight during the vows. The birth of Lily, Emma gripping my fingers through the contractions, whispering, "We've got this, Ryan," between gasps. Jack's first steps in our old living room, both of us on our knees cheering him on. Lazy Sunday mornings with coffee in bed, her head on my chest while the kids played downstairs. How had we gone from that to this? I didn't shout. I never do. Instead, I nodded slowly, my jaw locked so tight it ached. "Okay, Emma," I said, my voice steady but hollow. "If that's what you want." But inside, something twisted. This wasn't her. The woman who once stayed up all night with me when Jack had a fever, the one who surprised me with tickets to that football match because she knew how much I loved coaching the kids' team. None of that matched the distant stranger standing in front of me now. Her shoulders were hunched, arms wrapped around herself, like she was holding her own body together. I wanted to reach out, pull her close, but her eyes begged me not to. So I let her walk away, back upstairs, her footsteps soft and defeated on the carpet. That night, after the kids were asleep and the house was silent except for the low hum of the fridge, I sat alone at the kitchen table. The divorce papers lay there like a wound. Sleep wouldn't come. My mind kept replaying her words, the fear in her voice, the way her fingers had trembled handing me that envelope. I needed answers. Not to fight her, but to understand why the love of my life was suddenly trying to erase us. I opened our shared family photos app on my laptop, the one we both used every week to upload pictures of Lily's school plays and Jack's football matches, so the grandparents could smile along from afar. Emma had added a few shots from her recent trip to help Mom with that bad arthritis flare-up. There she was in one photo, standing in what looked like Mom's living room, a weak smile on her face, holding a cup of tea. But something felt off. As a man who spends his life staring at data, I tapped the info button out of habit. The timestamps didn't match. One image claimed it was created 2 days after she was supposed to have returned home. Another had location data that placed it nowhere near Mom's town. My heart started beating harder. What was I about to find? I scrolled deeper into the app's version history, those hidden backups that most people never bother checking. And there it was. A folder she must have thought she'd permanently cleared. An old one from her university days, around 2010. My stomach dropped as the thumbnail loaded. I clicked it. The video was 45 seconds long, but it felt like it lasted forever. Emma, 20 years old, wild and carefree in a way I'd never known her, stood on a sticky table at some chaotic house party. She was topless, laughing hysterically, doing body shots off a group of lads while the room roared and cheered. Phones were everywhere, filming from every angle. She snogged one bloke hard, then turned and kissed another, her skirt riding up as she flashed the crowd without a care. Crude shouts and laughter filled the audio, student slang flying thick and fast, the kind that would make any parent's blood run cold. It was raw, reckless, the opposite of the composed, professional mom who organized school fetes and made sure our kids never heard a bad word at home. I paused it, my hand shaking on the trackpad. This wasn't the Emma I married. But I knew instantly, if this ever got out, it would destroy everything. Lily and Jack would hear whispers at school. "Your mom's the one in that mad party video." Neighbors would stare. My coaching mates would side-eye me on the sidelines. Emma's marketing job, where image and trust mattered, could vanish overnight. Our family, the one everyone respected, would become the local scandal that never faded. I sat there in the dark kitchen, staring at the frozen frame of her young face mid-laugh, and felt a wave of protectiveness crash over me. But underneath it, a deeper hurt began to simmer. Why hadn't she trusted me with this? I didn't confront her. Not yet. I saved copies of everything, metadata exports, the video, every detail, then closed the laptop. For the next 3 weeks, I moved like a shadow in my own home. I smiled at the kids, helped with homework, coached Jack's Saturday football session, where he scored his first goal and ran straight into my arms, his little face beaming with pride. I cooked Emma's favorite pasta on Tuesday nights like always. But inside, I was building a wall of evidence, brick by quiet brick. Every night after everyone slept, I worked. I checked her phone one evening while she was in the shower. Our passcodes had always been shared for emergencies with the kids. There it was, in a deleted thread from her older sister Natalie. The messages were cold, calculated, dripping with years of resentment. "File those papers and keep it quiet, or that video goes to every parent at Lily and Jack's school, your work group chat, and the neighborhood Facebook page." One read, "Pound 25,000 from whatever you get in the settlement. Call it helping mom with bills if anyone asks. Do it my way or everyone sees what a slag you were at uni. You always got the perfect life, Emma. Time it crumbled." Natalie, 40 years old, the sister who had spent her life scraping by with failed relationships and mounting debts, had cornered Emma weeks earlier. She dug up that old hard drive, played the video on her phone, and laid out the threat with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Pure jealousy. Natalie had always seethed watching Emma land on her feet, with a steady husband, a nice house, kids who thrived. She wanted the marriage destroyed so her little sister's perfect image would finally shatter, and she wanted the cash to clear her own mess. She'd coached Emma on every line. The "Mom's poorly" story, the "I need space" excuse, the rushed papers to keep me from digging. I read those messages over and over, my fists clenched until my knuckles whitened. The hurt in my chest grew sharper each day. Emma had carried this alone. She hadn't trusted me, the man who had promised to stand by her through everything, to help shoulder it. Memories hit me hard, the night Lily was born, and Emma had whispered, "I couldn't do this without you," tears streaming down her face. Now she'd chosen silence over us. But I didn't let the anger win yet. I contacted a sharp solicitor named Rachel over coffee one afternoon, showed her everything. Her eyes widened as she read the texts. "This is blackmail, Ryan. Demanding money with threats to ruin your family's reputation, especially with the kids involved. We build this slow. We make it airtight." So I played along. I attended mediation sessions, nodding politely while lawyers talked splits and custody. I let Emma send a small goodwill payment to Natalie as bait, watching my wife's hand shake as she transferred it from our joint account. Natalie grew cocky. More texts arrived, demanding the rest faster, gloating in her words. I documented every one. The kids noticed the tension. Lily asked me one night at bedtime, her small hand on my cheek, "Daddy, why is Mummy sad all the time?" I hugged her tight, swallowing the lump in my throat, and whispered, "We're fixing it, love. Daddy's got this." Jack drew me a picture of our family holding hands under a big sun, and I pinned it above my desk like a reminder of what I was fighting for. 3 weeks passed like that, slow, deliberate, every day stretching my patience thinner. I barely slept. I replayed our old holiday videos in my mind at 3 a.m. Emma laughing on the beach with the kids, her head thrown back, the wind in her hair. I remembered how she used to trace circles on my back when I was stressed from work, whispering, "You're my safe place, Ryan." Now she avoided my touch like it burned. The annoyance festered into something deeper, a quiet fury at the sister who had weaponized our love, but mostly at the fact that Emma had believed I'd judge her instead of fight for her. Finally, when the file was locked down and the police were on standby, I knew it was time. The kids were at a sleepover with friends. The house felt too big, too empty. Emma was in the living room, curled on the sofa in her dressing gown, staring at nothing. Her face was drawn, dark circles under her eyes, shoulders slumped like the weight of the secret was crushing her spine. I sat across from her, the laptop on my knees. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. "Emma," I said, my voice low and steady but edged with the hurt I'd held back for weeks. I opened the Photos app slowly, turning the screen toward her. "I found this. The timestamps on those trip photos don't add up." They never did. Her eyes widened, color draining from her face until she looked ghostly. Her hands flew to her mouth, fingers trembling against her lips. She shook her head, small and frantic, like she could will the images away. "Ryan, no! Please! How did you?" I didn't rush. I let the silence stretch, watching her body language, the way her chest rose and fell too fast, her knees pulling up to her chest like a child. "I recovered the folder you thought you deleted. The video from your uni days. The party. The table. The everything." I played a short, blurred section, just enough for her to see her younger self mid-laugh, the chaos frozen on screen. Her breath hitched into a sob. Tears spilled down her cheeks, tracking mascara in dark lines. She reached out as if to close the laptop, but her hand stopped halfway, hovering, defeated. I leaned forward, my own voice cracking now. "I saw Natalie's messages too. Every threat. Every demand for £25,000. She told you to file the papers, to lie about visiting Mom, to push me away, so she could watch our life burn and take her cut. I know it all, Emma. I've known for weeks. I've been building this case while you slept in the spare room thinking I was falling for it." She broke then. Her body folded forward, forehead pressing against her knees, shoulders shaking with deep, wrenching sobs that filled the room. "I was so scared, Ryan," she whispered between gasps, her voice muffled and raw. "Natalie cornered me after your football training that night. She showed me the video on her phone. God, I looked so stupid, so young and reckless. She said if I didn't divorce you quietly, she'd send it to Lily's teacher, to the parent group, to your coaching WhatsApp, to everyone who thinks we're the perfect family. She hated me for having you, for having the kids who actually behave, for the house we built. She wanted to see me lose it all. And the money? She needed it for her debts. I panicked. I thought if you saw it, you'd look at me like I was that girl on the table forever. The kids would hear the whispers at school. Our life, the one we fought for, would be ruined. I love you so much it hurts, but I convinced myself I had to protect you from me. From my stupid past. I didn't trust that you'd still choose us after seeing it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Her words hung there, heavy and broken. I sat still for a long moment, letting them sink in. My eyes burned. The annoyance I'd carried, the deep, quiet hurt that she hadn't come to me first, rose up fully now. That's what cuts deepest, Emma, I said, my tone measured but thick with emotion. I reached out slowly and took her hands, feeling how icy they were against my warm palms. 12 years. 2 kids. All the nights I held you through your worries, all the times you told me I was your rock. And you faced this monster alone because you thought I'd walk away? It makes me angry, not at you, not really, but at how fear made you doubt us. I would have burned the world down for you the second she threatened. Instead you carried it and nearly let it destroy us. She lifted her head, eyes red and swollen, searching my face desperately. Her lower lip quivered. I know. I see that now. I was weak. I was ashamed. That video, it's not who I am anymore. It was one stupid night when I was 20 and thought the world was endless fun. But Natalie knew exactly how to use it against the life we have now. Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. She squeezed my hands tighter, her nails digging in slightly, like she was afraid I'd pull away. I didn't. Not yet. I'm not walking away, I said finally, my voice softening just enough. But we're doing this my way now. Together. No more secrets. Only then did I pull her into my arms. She collapsed against my chest, her face buried in my shirt, sobs shaking her whole body. I held her tight, one hand stroking her hair, the other rubbing slow circles on her back the way she liked when she was overwhelmed. Memories flashed again, her pregnant with Lily, leaning on me the same way. We're stronger than her poison, I whispered into her hair. But she's going to pay for what she tried to take from us. The family meeting happened that weekend at our parents' house. I'd arranged it under the excuse of discussing the divorce amicably. Everyone was there, Mom and Dad, a few cousins, the whole extended circle who had watched us grow from young couple to parents. Natalie arrived last, smug in her casual jeans and top, a faint smirk playing on her lips as she hugged Emma a little too tightly. Glad you're doing the right thing, sis, she murmured, loud enough for me to hear. We gathered in the living room, the air thick with unspoken tension. I stood at the front, laptop connected to the TV screen. My hands were steady now. Emma sat beside me on the sofa, her body pressed close to mine, fingers intertwined with mine under a cushion. Her face was pale but determined, eyes flicking to me for strength. Natalie, I began, my voice calm and clear, carrying across the room. Everyone quieted. You've been blackmailing my wife for weeks, threatening to destroy our family with an old video unless she divorced me and paid you £25,000. I have every message, every timestamp, every demand. I pressed play. The short blurred clip filled the screen, enough for everyone to see the chaos, the exposure, the wild laughter. Gasps rippled through the room. Mom's hand flew to her mouth, eyes wide with horror. Dad's face hardened, jaw set. Cousin shifted uncomfortably, whisper starting. Natalie's smirk vanished. Her face went sheet white, then flushed red with panic. She stood up abruptly, chair scraping loudly on the floor. "That's not. You can't prove anything. It's old rubbish." I didn't raise my voice. I simply opened the text on the big screen, scrolling through them slowly, so every word landed like a hammer. "File the papers, or everyone sees what a slag you were. Pound 25K, or your kids hear about it at school." Her own words stared back at her. Natalie's hand started shaking. She backed up a step, bumping into the coffee table, nearly knocking over a photo frame of Lily and Jack as babies. "You twisted it." Emma agreed. "She wanted out." Emma spoke then, her voice stronger than I'd heard in weeks, though tears glistened in her eyes. "No, Natalie. You cornered me. You used my shame against me. Against my children. My husband. You wanted to watch me lose everything because you couldn't stand that I built something real." The room turned on her. Mom's voice cracked with disappointment. "Natalie, how could you? After everything we've been through as a family?" Dad stood slowly, his face a mask of quiet fury. "You've gone too far. This isn't jealousy anymore. This is destruction." Cousins murmured agreement, one even shaking his head and stepping away from her like she was toxic. Natalie's eyes darted around, desperate, her body language collapsing, shoulders slumping, hands wringing in front of her, tears starting to form, but not from remorse, from being caught. She looked small, defeated, the smug mask shattered completely. "Please," she whispered, voice breaking. "It was just talk. I needed the money. I didn't mean." But it was too late. I had messaged the police before they arrived. 2 officers stepped into the room quietly from the hallway where they'd been waiting. Natalie's eyes widened in pure terror as cuffs clicked around her wrists. She struggled weakly, sobbing now, mascara running down her cheeks. "Ryan, Emma, don't do this. We're family." The officers led her out, her pleas echoing down the hall until the door closed. The room fell silent except for soft crying from Mum. Natalie was gone, arrested for blackmail, reputation in tatters inside the family forever. Charges would stick. A restraining order would follow. She would never come near us again. With the police and our solicitor Rachel present the next day, we handled the final piece. Natalie was forced to hand over every device. Her phone, the old hard drive, cloud logins. The digital forensics expert supervised as she deleted the original video file in real time, her hands trembling on the keyboard, face blotchy and defeated. I ran my secure wipe tool myself, multiple forensic passes, overwriting the data until nothing remained. Emma and I watched together, her arm linked through mine, her head resting on my shoulder. The solicitor secured a signed legal undertaking. No copies existed anywhere. The police logged the destruction officially. The only remaining version was the encrypted forensic copy for court, which would be wiped after the case closed. We deleted it together later that night, just the 2 of us, a quiet ritual in the glow of the laptop screen. Emma's tears fell onto the keyboard as the progress bar filled. "It's really gone," she whispered. "Because of you." The months that followed weren't easy, but they were ours. We withdrew the divorce papers. Emma started counseling, unpacking the shame that had nearly swallowed her. We went to couple sessions too, real, raw talks where I admitted how much her lack of trust had stung, and she promised never to carry burdens alone again. The kids sensed the shift. Lily hugged us both tighter at bedtime. Jack asked fewer worried questions. We kept a lower profile for a while. No big announcements, just steady rebuilding. One quiet evening, 6 months later, with the kids making cards at the kitchen table, we renewed our commitment right there at home. No big ceremony. Just us, a simple meal, candlelight flickering on their smiling faces. Emma looked at me across the table, her eyes soft and full of the love I'd fought to protect. "Thank you for not giving up on us. she said, voice thick. I took her hand, tracing the wedding ring I'd never let her remove. We faced the ugly stuff together. That's what makes us unbreakable. And as I sit here now, reflecting on it all, I know the truth. The people closest to you can sometimes carry the sharpest knives when jealousy takes root. But real love, the kind that builds a family and fights for it, refuses to let that poison win. It demands truth even when it hurts. It builds evidence in the shadows and delivers justice without mercy. Natalie learned that the hard way, broken and alone. We learned we were stronger for it.